Hello and welcome to Intuitive Insights. On this channel, we discuss everything to do with the ascension process. I want to welcome back all of our subscribers, and I want to welcome anyone who's new. If this is your first time finding our channel, I will let you know that Kayla and I do videos on a whole bunch of different topics, anything and everything ascension related. So I definitely encourage you to hop on over to the playlists tab after this video and just check out all of our different videos and the different topics and the different angles that we examine this ascension process from. We like our channel to be as multifaceted as we all are, as all of you beautiful, beautiful beings who watch us are. And so we like to have a broad range of topics and sort of lenses through which to view ourselves and through which to view this process. So yeah, I would recommend that you guys check out all that stuff. Check out everything we have to offer. Kayla and I both also offer energy healing sessions and tarot readings. So if you're interested in services for that, our information is in the description box below. We each have our own separate email and our information listed there. So just reach out to whichever one of us you resonate with if you are interested in any of those services. And now that we've got that out of the way, let's get going here. So we're talking about Jupiter today and the Jupiter retrograde. So the Jupiter retrograde began on the 15th of May when Jupiter stationed retrograde at 27 degrees of Capricorn. And Jupiter will remain in retrograde until he stations direct on the 13th of September at 17 degrees of Capricorn. And then he will return once again to 27 degrees of Capricorn on the 16th of November. And we call that like the post-shadow period. And that just means that he's retracing the degrees that he went retrograde. And then once he reaches the point where he initially went retrograde and moves forward, that's when we really feel a lot of the forward momentum again. And so we have videos on all the different retrogrades. We have a lot of retrogrades going on right now. So I definitely encourage you guys to check out all of those different videos. We have one on the Venus retrograde, Pluto's retrograde, Saturn, and Pluto and Saturn especially when we're talking about the Jupiter retrograde. Because these three planets are moving so closely together and Jupiter and Pluto are going in and out of three exact conjunctions throughout 2020, the second of which will be happening. It'll be exact on June 29th, but it'll be happening between the 22nd of June and the 8th of July. And that's going to be at 24 degrees of Capricorn. That's going to be really huge. The whole month of June is going to be huge, actually. There's so much intense energy going on. We have two eclipses. We have this second conjunction of Jupiter and Pluto, just all kinds of stuff. So the 6-6 portal. So we're going to be making videos and getting you information on all of that different stuff. But it's going to be a really action-packed and exhilarating month coming up. But we're not there yet. Right now we are in May. We're at the end of May still, and we're talking about the Jupiter retrograde. So I'm going to do my best to keep the focus there, but I do want to just point out that Jupiter is working very closely with Saturn and Pluto throughout this whole retrograde season. And so, yeah, when we talk about one, we're going to be getting into the energies a little bit of the others because they're all just sort of working together to meld us to our greatest potential and to really empower us and help us to step into our own authority and help us to really understand who we are and how to be effective as that person in the world, which is really exciting. I'm going to put a link to the the Jupiter Pluto Saturn video in the description box below if you guys want to check that one out as well. And then, as I said, there will be a video on the second conjunction and then the third conjunction when that happens in November as well between Jupiter and Pluto. But it's really exciting stuff. Jupiter is an exciting planet. And that's when we do these retrograde videos, we get into that a little bit. So we talk before we get into the energies of the retrograde, we talk about the energy of the planet. And so when we're talking about Jupiter, like who is Jupiter, right? Jupiter to me is sort of like that rich and kind of slightly overweight uncle. Just the one who's really jolly, he's always just in a great mood, kind of slipping $20 bills into your pocket and just really having a good time. Like that's the energy of Jupiter. He's all about expansion. He's all about faith. He just has this general goodwill to him. He's, a little bit like Santa Claus, I guess you could say, like they consider him the great benefic. He is a planet that basically is mostly associated with blessings, good fortune and blessings. The area which Jupiter falls in your chart tends to be an area in your life where you are more specifically blessed, like things you just tend to have really good luck in that area, right? And so yeah, this is Jupiter's energy. He is very lucky. He's when we think about Jupiter in terms of the solar system, right? Like Jupiter is the largest planet in the solar system. He burns so brightly that we almost had a second sun in our solar system, and that second sun would have been Jupiter. And I mean, there are astrological bodies that orbit around him. You know, he kind of perches himself slightly a little ways away from the sun, kind of just burning bright and doing his own thing. And he is a king among planets. But he's like that really, really, what's the word that I'm looking for? This always happens when I do these videos. For some reason, I just can't come up with the word that I'm looking for. But he's a very kind king. He's very generous. He cares very much about the welfare of his people. Jupiter is a planet that also represents our morals, our ethics, our ideals, right? Our sense of faith, our sense of optimism. And so these are a lot of the things that we're going to be looking at during this Jupiter retrograde. When planets go retrograde, it tends to be a quieter time, a time where things may happen. If they happen externally, it's to trigger something internally, right? And most of the process that we go through is an internal process where we're sort of taking a step back. We're reevaluating. We're coming to a deeper understanding of our own motivations, of what's going on within ourselves in regard to what these planets represent. And so we're going to be really looking at our sense of faith. We may have, if external situations do present themselves, they'll be there to help us to really understand and to develop that sense of faith. A lot of times when Jupiter goes retrograde, sometimes this can be a time, especially when he's closely linked to Saturn, which he is during this retrograde season, as well as Pluto. We can tend to maybe feel a little bit more depressed than usual, right? It's like that zest for life and that optimism and that sort of all of that just good-natured energy kind of seems to be a little bit sapped, and we sometimes have our faith tested. We have these periods where things can seem really dark and really just unknown and mysterious, and we're kind of unknown and mysterious to ourselves, and it causes us to really have to dig deep to find our sense of faith. It challenges us to look at everything that we believe in, everything that we believe that we stand for, and just re-examine that stuff. So Jupiter rules two different signs. He rules Sagittarius and he ruled Pisces up until Neptune was discovered. And so these are sort of the two sides of Jupiter. So we have the Sagittarian side, which is the truth seeker. You know, Sagittarius is very worldly. Sagittarius likes to travel. It likes to learn through experience, to know and to understand. Sagittarius is a risk taker. You know, it's a fire sign, right? So they're not satisfied with kind of just sitting idly by and letting life pass them by. They're really engaged in the experience of living. And they are they learn and develop their own morals and their own beliefs, and they stand by those very firmly, sometimes to the point of becoming almost overly dogmatic. That's something that Sagittarius energy has to watch out for. And then we also have Pisces energy, which is that feeling, intuitive energy. It's that mystical type of energy. The energy that's concerned with the collective, with spirituality, with sort of all of the things outside that you can't physically see, right? All of those deeper, more spiritual aspects of life. And so these are the two sides to Jupiter. And because of this, we definitely want to watch out when Jupiter's in retrograde. We can sometimes be even more likely to fall victim to, victimhood, for one thing. Also to addictions, to escapist type tendencies. And so, that's just something that we want to be aware of and watch out for. And that may be highlighted for us. If that's something that we've been going through or struggling with and it still is an issue for us, those issues may be highlighted during this retrograde so that we can address those and move beyond those, especially when we're also looking at the relationship with Saturn and Pluto. Yeah, we'll definitely be looking at that. It's also, so Jupiter rules morals and ethics and sort of like socials, I guess social status, you might say. It rules what is deemed morally and ethically responsible in a social sense as well. And so it's sort of this push-pull between us understanding and developing our own sense of morals and ethics, and also sort of like weighing that against what society expects of us and what society's morals and ethics are. So these may be issues that we're working through that are coming up with for us as we're sort of understanding maybe ways that we've compromised our own morals or ethics due to what was expected of us from society, and sort of coming to an understanding of how we can express ourselves and live our own truth while still living within this construct that we live in. And it's an interesting time because we have, after Jupiter comes out of the shadow, the post-shadow period, and then is moving direct again, he will very shortly in December be moving into Aquarius, and he'll be doing so in tandem with Saturn. So that's going to be really interesting, right? But like right now, Jupiter's in Capricorn. And so Capricorn is the sign of authority. Capricorn's the sign of status. It's the sign of, in a lot of ways, responsibility and social acceptability. You know, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. And so I think that this is definitely going to be a theme that's coming up a lot, and just like the ways that we navigate the ways of living that society imposes on us versus like our own freedom to be our own individual and to be our own person within that. So we're gonna be looking at a lot as far as authority goes, as far as the belief systems of the world at large and how those are sort of changing, and just like the ways that we live our lives and structure our lives, and whether those are conducive to what we truly believe and what has value to us. You know, Jupiter is really asking us, like, what are you passionate about? What fires up your soul? Jupiter is another planet like Venus that's associated with creativity, right? And Jupiter, I'm sensing, my feeling during this is that Jupiter is going to be sort of delivering little blessings to us here and there throughout this retrograde period. And the point of that is going to be just to see how well we can handle those blessings, and if we're ready for the bigger blessings that it's getting ready to give us once it goes direct. And so we may be tested a little bit in that way too. And just like, sort of that's our way to show what it is that we want. I get this, and this isn't typical of a retrograde season, but I get this feeling as though Jupiter will be rewarding those who are willing to take risks during this time. And I don't mean like crazy risks. I mean just, you know, like risks that make sense, risks for the things that we value, the things that we want, the things that we're passionate about, our projects, the things that we're moving towards, the life that we're trying to build. If we are presented with little opportunities or blessings, and it might be a little bit of a risk to accept them or act on them, but it feels like a risk that resonates with our soul, and we do take that risk, then there will be a lot of blessings to follow. It's sort of like opening up the floodgates for that. So that's a really exciting energy that I'm feeling during this retrograde too. And it sort of links into the Saturn retrograde, where I got this feeling as though things that we had been working on manifesting, that we had kind of given up hope on or forgotten about, are going to be manifesting as well during this time. So that's going to be really interesting. And some of that may be some of these tests that Jupiter's throwing at us to find out, like, okay, so these beliefs and these ideals that you stand for, this faith that you say that you have, like, are those in fact your beliefs and your ethics and your values, or are they not? Do you really have faith, or do you not? And if you do, and if those are, then here you go. Here's that opportunity. Here's that thing that you wanted. Here's that blessing. Here's, you know, whatever. And so, yeah, that's going to be a really fun and a really interesting energy that we're going to be getting into. And I'm just feeling this really heavy vibe of empowerment. Like, Jupiter is the planet of optimism, right? So there's a lot to do with self-confidence and self-empowerment, and sort of whether we believe and trust and have faith in ourselves and our ability to be effective in the world. The sign of Capricorn is all about being effective in the world. So like, Do we have faith in our ability to do that? Do we have faith in our ability to stand up for what it is that we believe in, to live the life of our dreams? And if we don't, like, are we willing to do the things it takes to gain that faith? Are we willing to take those risks so that that faith can be built? Are we willing to take a gamble, right? Jupiter is the planet that likes to gamble and likes to take risks. So are we willing to do that? And yeah, so that's definitely, this whole retrograde is going to be very interesting between all the different planets. It's like trying to pick out what's specifically going on with each retrograde is almost difficult at this point, because it's kind of like they're all melding into one, really. And all of these energies are just complementing each other and playing off of each other to get us into this space of realization and this space of empowerment and growth, where we really are just coming into our own in every way, shape, and form. It's very exciting stuff. So we're going to get into the cards now, and we're going to see what they have to say. We're going to be starting with the Black Moon Astrology cards. All right, Jupiter retrograde. Let's get some cards and some advice for Jupiter retrograde. What are we dealing with during this retrograde? What are we dealing with during this retrograde? Oh, jeez. Interesting. All right. So we got some interesting cards here. Sorry guys, sometimes my nose starts itching during these channeling sessions. So we have the fire element. This is desire. So this has been coming up a lot lately. So we are dealing with and coming to understand our desires. It's like when we talk about our beliefs and our ideals, right? It's like that stuff that lights a fire within us. Like the fire within us is being activated. And this is going on throughout, like we were talking about with this whole process of all the planets in retrograde together, right? It's like we're really getting ignited with that ambition, that passion. When we talk about our creativity, that's that fire element. When we talk about our life purpose and our projects and all of that stuff, we're talking about that desire. We're talking about that fire. And then we have the void of course moon missing. So this is interesting. So the void of course moon is an interesting time where it's sort of like the moon feels like it has no trajectory. It's the time where it's made its final aspect before it moves into the next sign and makes the next aspect. So it's sort of this free fall kind of period, right? And so I'm feeling this as, for a lot of us in the beginning of this retrograde, it's sort of like that fire is going to go out for a minute. And that fire is going to be missing. And it's like we were feeling really fired up and really impassioned and like we really knew what we wanted and we were ready to go after it and all of this. And then all of a sudden it's like this sort of, like the air gets sucked out of the room and we're just like, fuck, you know, like we're a little bit confused. We're a little bit just like, I don't really know what to do from here. I don't know where to go from here. It's some of the, you know, it's like our faiths and our ideals and our beliefs are being challenged. And so when we're in that mode, things can get pretty confusing for a while and we can sort of feel a little bit defeated. Like I thought I knew who I was and I thought I knew where I wanted and where I was going and now I don't. And just like, you know, that strength is kind of sapped for a minute. But that's good because that's giving us that time to reevaluate and to figure out what it is that we truly want and to really examine all the things that we thought that we did want and decide if that still holds true for us or not. And at the end of this cycle, like that fire will be lit again and we will have like a very clear path forward. It's just for a little while, it's going to be a little confusing. You know, we have the Neptune card here, which is also about mystery. It's about confusion. Neptune rules Pisces, right? Which is, it's the new ruler of Pisces. Before that, Jupiter was the ruler, like we just talked about, right? So it's like the Neptune energy is really tying into this void of course moon energy. And it's just like everything feels confusing. Everything feels kind of hazy. We're kind of just like, we're like we said, like free falling, just sort of floating and not really knowing knowing who we are or what we want. It's like a crisis of faith. That's what I'm feeling this as for a lot of people, is a crisis of faith. And then we have the Sagittarius card, which is I see. And so it's sort of like we get this fresh, and this is the other sign that Jupiter rules, right? So we have the two signs that Jupiter rules right here, Neptune and Sagittarius. And so after we come out of this crisis of faith, we have like a new knowing and a new understanding, and we're able to see things from a much higher perspective. We have like this new sense of who we are and what we want and how we can be effective in the world. Like our faith is restored. Like first we go through this crisis, and then we come out of that so much stronger than we were before. And we have Mercury retrograde here too. And this card is about reinvention. And Mercury will be going retrograde in the middle of June as well. So with the list of all those things we talked about happening in June, we also have this coming up. But this card is about reinvention, right? So it's all about seeing things. I see, right? Seeing things from different perspectives, really getting a chance to view our own lives, to view the world from a different and a new perspective. And to really, Sagittarius is about really developing our own sense of self, our own code of ethics, our own morality, right? And so this is a big thing too, our own sense of faith. It's sort of like faith, like that spiritual kind of faith that comes from experience. It doesn't come from something we read in a book. It doesn't come from something we were told in a church or something like that. It comes from our own experience and the synthesis of that experience. And so we're really developing that and coming into a stronger rooting in that. Because we feel completely lost in the beginning, we emerge from that with a much deeper sense of faith, and like a faith that's true. Like for some of us, maybe we had a lot of really rosy ideas about what faith was, about what spirituality was, about our own morals and our own beliefs and our own potential and our own creative power, right? But we didn't necessarily feel it. We didn't identify with it fully. We identified with it as a concept, but we didn't fully identify with it in practice. And so through this process and whatever challenges come about, we will then be able to identify with it on a much more real level. It's going to go from the head to the heart. And when we come out of this, we're really going to feel that. And we are going to be so strong in our faith, so strong in our knowing that nothing will be able to shake us, which is a beautiful thing. And we also have the South Node, life's debts. So this card is all about karma, right? It's the releasing of karma. It's our past patterns and behaviors, our past energies. And so we have that also with the Cancer card, which is I feel. And so this is interesting. We just came out of a period of having, was it the South? I want to say the South Node was in Cancer, or maybe it was the North Node. I can't remember. I'm going to end up putting my foot in my mouth if I say too much about it right now. But it's releasing our karmic debts, really working through some more of that karma during this cycle as well, which is interesting. And really working through our karma and deepening our intuition. I feel that with the Cancer card as well, because this is all about our intuitive nature. It's all about our emotions. It's all about, so this may be a very emotional time for some. This may be a time when things come up around the family that are ready to be healed. There may be karma around the family that's ready to be worked through and moved through. It was interesting. So we have Capricorn, which is the sign that Jupiter is going retrograde in. And the polarity of Capricorn is Cancer. And so as we're dealing with all of these issues of authority and status and career and ambition and all of that stuff, we're also sorting through the polarity aspect of that, which is that Cancer energy. And so I'm actually really glad this card came out, because I totally forgot to mention that. And see, Spirit wanted that to be mentioned. So yeah, we are working through some issues around that. And sort of this may be tied in as well to the ideals and the belief structures that we're working through as well. And sort of the moral and social codes and all of that, and how that relates to our home life, how that relates to our family. And as a result of working through and releasing these past life energies, clearing up these past life cycles, which may have to do with faith. They may be cycles that we're clearing out as far as faith and religion and stuff like that goes. As far as beliefs and dogma, they may be cycles that we're clearing out around the home and sort of the way that structures and the way that we conduct ourselves and what that situation looks like. As we move through and release those energies and release those old ways of doing things. Like the South Node is all about the old ways of doing things. And so the South Node energy is the energy we come in with. So this is also a lot of times like this can, I'm feeling right now like the energy of our ancestors, the energy of how something's always been done. And sort of some of that stuff that we're coming here, some of those stories that we're coming here to rewrite for them. Some of that karma and those old cycles that we're coming here to clear for them. And so as we work through and we clear those energies, we have part of fortune increase. So this is all about abundance. This is all about those blessings coming through, right? It's about, Jupiter is the planet of expansion. He wants to expand everything. Jupiter, you give him 10 cents, he'll give you $10,000. And so, yeah, it's that. And that's what I'm feeling from this too, this is when we were talking about being tested with those little blessings and how we handle those and those little risks that we're willing to take that Jupiter then amplifies into something so much bigger. And I'm seeing that here as well with the Moon card, which is the Soul card, is that this is a lot of this as well around when we take risks that involve our feelings, when we take risks that involve our emotions, really putting ourselves out there, getting outside of our comfort zones where that's concerned, when we will be rewarded for that. When we take risks regarding our intuition and our spiritual lives, and we make movement and we make investments in ourselves in those areas as well, like that will be richly rewarded also. And we have Chiron on the bottom of the deck, healing. So there will be some deep healing that's going on during this cycle. Chiron is the wounded healer. We talk about this, right? And so this is the asteroid that represents those deepest, darkest parts of ourselves, those deepest, darkest wounds. So this can go back to this card as well, right? And so as we work through and we heal those wounds, that's where we also find our greatest strengths. And so for a lot of people, we're going through this deep healing process that in turn is going to amplify our blessings, really reconnect us with our souls. And it's going to sort of set a path and a trajectory for how we can then help others. Like Chiron energy, once we heal those aspects of ourselves, we're then able to heal the world. We're then able to really step forward and be empowered and show other people how to heal themselves. So there's going to be a lot of deep healing going on. Deep healing going on around the emotions, around the family, around the mother. For some, Cancer is the mother energy. Around past life issues, past life karma, stuff like that. And around just like our faith and our sense of self. And yeah, just a lot of healing. I'm seeing this. I'm noticing with the moon, we've got, all the phases up top, right? And so, yeah, a lot of healing around the eclipses, between the eclipses and the full moons and all of the major events the major astrological events that we're having. Yeah, I can feel a lot. And you see it's interesting too in the Cancer card. You've got the 3 moons up there, right? So for some, this may be related to the Jupiter-Pluto conjunction, which it will be happening 3 times throughout 2020. And just as we heal along that. And then we have 8th house, endings and beginnings. So there will be more endings, more beginnings. This is the house that rules the occult. It rules this sex, it rules power. It's the Pluto house, right? Death and rebirth and all of that different stuff. So it rules our intimate relationships, like true deep dark intimacy, not all of the light fluffy stuff, but the stuff that triggers this intense healing, the stuff that really connects when we connect with someone on a soul level, when we connect in that deep raw emotional level. Like the 8th house and Pluto rules all of that. So just a lot of connection. And I'm seeing in this card right now, it's interesting. I'm noticing the the Egyptian sarcophagus here. And so maybe some healing around past lives and stuff related to some of you for ancient Egypt, and the reclaiming of gifts and abilities from lifetimes in ancient Egypt. There's just a very heavy Egyptian energy here. Healing around lifetimes that we had with other people who were also present with us in Egypt. Just a lot of just interesting stuff like that I'm seeing right now with this card. And it's just like things being reborn, things ending so that other things can be reborn, which is coming up just over and over and over again. And then interestingly enough, under that, we have lunar eclipse change. So we're talking about the eclipses and all of the astrological things that are happening. So this is, there's going to be a lot of big changes for a lot of us as a result of this retrograde cycle and all of these retrograde cycles and what they reveal to us about ourselves and about our desires, about what it is that we want, about who it is that we are, what it is that we actually stand for, not what the world tells us we're supposed to stand for, not what seems and sounds good, but what it is that we actually stand for, and really being able to connect with that and move in the fullness of that. So yeah, and then we have the 5th house, creativity. So just more of that creative energy. Like we're going to come out of this with a whole new zest for life, you guys. And we're just going to be creating, and everything is there's just going to be so much abundance and so much blossoming. And it's going to be incredible. It's going to be so incredible. I'm so excited. And it's going to give us this sense of stability, right? A sense of stability that we may be somewhat lacking throughout this process. So, yeah, good stuff, you guys, good stuff. And I'm going to pull them with some Moonology cards. I'm being called to the Moonology deck. Clear. All right, give us some guidance for Jupiter Retrograde 2020. Jupiter Retrograde 2020. Jupiter Retrograde 2020. Oh, I don't think I've ever seen that card before. Interesting. Jupiter Retrograde 2020. Okay. So we have supermoon. Emotions are running high. We've had a ton of supermoons this year, right? But this is just the card that talks about just really intense, passionate situations, really highly charged emotional situations. And just, yeah, we're going to be experiencing a lot of those. We have conclusions are within reach, full moon eclipse. So there we go, talking about that eclipse again, right? Let me lay out a couple of these here. Confidence is your key to success. Work through your fears. Okay, so, yeah. Situations where we may be feeling highly emotional. Throughout this whole, as we're learning, we're working through all of these fears, right? We're working through some of these old cycles. Our beliefs and our faith is really being tested, right? Like emotions are going to be running really high. We're going to really want to be careful. We want to be careful how we speak to people, what we say to people. We want to be careful of our reactions, our actions and our reactions. That's what I'm really getting, is just there are going to be things that happen that are going to be triggering for us. They're triggering this deeper state of healing, of cleansing, of really getting to know who we are and what we stand for. And as we're going through this process, like we're going to be highly emotional. The energy is going to be highly charged. And we just want to be careful that we're not making like a snap reaction to things. This is really a time like Jupiter's energy is expansive, right? So even in the sign of Capricorn, even in retrograde where that energy is a bit restricted for a while, it's still like a big energy. And we have all of these eclipses coming up. We have all of this like really heavy hitting astrological events going on throughout this year, throughout this retrograde, right? And so it's just, situations are going to involve a little bit more care. People are going to require a little bit more finesse, a little bit more care. We're just going to want to really watch how we're acting and reacting, and how really being cognizant and mindful of what situations are triggering us and what it is that they're triggering within us, and sort of what that like I say this a lot. I learned this from Erin Doughty. I really love it. It's, when we have a high emotional reaction to a situation, stop stepping back and saying to myself, what would I need to believe what would I need to believe is true in order to be having this reaction? And that's how we can kind of start to get to the beliefs that are underneath our emotional reactions, right? Because our emotions are a barometer that tell us how we truly feel about something. They tell us when something's off, right? When they're emotions that we perceive as negative, they're telling us when something isn't sitting right with us, when something isn't resonating with us. And so it's paying attention to that stuff. And also I'm getting that like emotions, like it's not just those emotions that we perceive as negative. Like a lot of really passionate emotions are going to be running high too. Like we're just going to be really emotionally charged. Like for some people, there may be a lot of dips and valleys during this time. We may go from feeling like we're on top of the world to like everything is crashing down around us and then just up and down like this. So it's just kind of holding on for the ride and try not to make any snap judgments or snap decisions, but just really like taking a step back to kind of evaluate and understand what it is that's going on and what it is that's coming up for us and what it is that's being revealed about ourselves. And just knowing that like things will be concluding. This is a card that speaks to beginnings and endings, right? It's like conclusions to situations that were very high voltage emotionally and were really putting us through the ringer. Like those are within reach. Like there may be conclusions that happen that really surprise and shock people. And it's just going with the flow of that as well. And just, and this is also, I feel like conclusions, like internal conclusions within your own mind, things that you've been kind of back and forth and wishy-washy on and not really knowing where you stood on something, not really knowing what direction to go in, what it is. Do I really want this? Do I not really want this? Does this resonate with me? Does this not resonate with me? Is now the right time? Is it not? Like some of those conclusions are going to come as well. And they may come around eclipse time. And I know that's a pretty vague thing to say because we have so many, but we have two super potent eclipses in June. One that happens right around the 6/6 the day before the 6/6 portal, and the other one that happens right around the summer solstice and really right around the second conjunction of Jupiter and Pluto and a whole bunch of stuff. So that's going to be really powerful. But then we still have a few more throughout the year too. So within this year, within around sort of being, it's sort of like I'm feeling like a deeper level of awareness and a deeper level of sort of understanding that happens with each of these moon cycles and with each of these eclipses that leads to us really, really coming to the conclusions and understanding the direction that we want to go in and really getting the firm footing underneath us to be able to move in that direction finally. And the reason that we're able to do that is because we really, truly, finally have developed our own code of ethics and morals, our own faith and beliefs that like cannot be shaken by anything outside of us anymore. And from that place, we are then able to act, and we have confidence as your key to success. So this is when it comes to situations, when it comes to anything, when it comes to love, when it comes to career, when it comes to, like your soul purpose, your life mission, all of that stuff, anything that it is that you're doing, these creative projects, right? These conversations, anything and everything. Confidence is your key to success, and we will be coming into this state of confidence within ourselves throughout this retrograde season, as long as we are willing to work through our fears. This card always comes up. It's so important. Just working through our fears and just purging that stuff and letting that stuff come out and letting that stuff come up and out. Not getting trapped, not allowing ourselves to get trapped in our fears anymore. Like, have confidence in your ability to do that and your ability to move past your perceived fears and limitations, right? Because we are our only limitation. And like we are all of that, all of that untangles, we're just stepping into this really incredible, confident space. We're embracing our inner lion and lioness, right? But we have to be willing to confront our fears. This is going to be a time where we can't just keep sweeping them under the bed and pretending that they don't exist. And we can't deny where our fears have been sort of dictating our lives. And we're really in a place where we're willing and able to step beyond that and to stop allowing that to happen and to step more firmly into our power and into our own magic, right? And then we have believe in the impossible, Blue Moon. This card always comes up, guys, right? So it's like some of our fears may be that our dreams are unrealistic, that we can't have the things that we want, that opportunities are missed and gone and they're not going to come around again. I mean, Jupiter is the king of opportunities and blessings, and he's like here to rain those down upon us and here to remind us, like, believe in the impossible. All possibilities are possible. All possibilities are possible, and the answers you need are coming. And this is all the full moon in Gemini card, right? So it's like the communication piece. It's like you're going to be receiving communication. You're going to be receiving communication, whether this is in the form of from specific people, whether for a lot of you, this is spiritual communication. Spirit is going to be communicating with you. It's going to be giving you answers. It's going to be giving you signs and synchronicities. If you have a question about something, you have these conclusions, right, that you're trying to come to in your own mind, right? And you don't really know, ask Spirit to help guide you. Ask Spirit to show you the signs and the synchronicities, and it will do so. Ask Spirit to help you to believe in the impossible. You know, this Jupiter retrograde cycle is all about building our faith, right? Our faith and our trust, not only in our own capabilities, but in Spirit itself. And so Spirit is telling you and saying, please reach out to me. Please ask for guidance, ask for signs, ask for synchronicities. Like, ask for the answers and I will supply you with those answers. I will help you. Reach out to me and build this connection with me so that I can guide you. And I can lead you forward, and we can do this together. We can co-create together. We can create this incredible reality that is beyond your wildest dreams. Just like reach out to me, just listen, right? And so for a lot of us, this also comes back to meditation, right? So prayer is asking for answers, and meditation is listening for those answers. So we have to get into that state of listening. Whether we're doing it in meditation, just in our daily lives, just noticing those little synchronicities, noticing the way that Spirit communicates, and just really being open to that. And being open, I'm getting to being open to accepting when that communication comes through. And like, I've definitely done this to myself where I ask Spirit for confirmation. And then Spirit gives it to me, and then I'm like, I don't know. That wasn't specific enough, or I'm not sure about that. Like, and I play these games, and it's like really like I'm telling you and I'm showing you everything you need to know, and you're just doing nothing but questioning me. And so it's super funny. So it's telling you guys not to do that. For some of you, stop doing that if that's something that you do. Like, just accept the answers when they're given. And then we also have on the bottom here, a new romantic cycle begins. So for some of you, this could be these conclusions, these highly volatile relationships, romantic relationships that are coming to a close, or they're concluding. So either they're changing form into something new, or they're ending so that something new can begin. And I'm being drawn to the scales here. This is the new moon in Libra. So something that's fair and balanced, and there's reciprocity there, right? So a new cycle that is fair and balanced is getting ready to be initiated through this process. And maybe that's for some of you, some of the stuff that you're looking for answers, you're looking for signs around where you need to believe in the impossible. For some of you, this is just belief in yourself. For some of you, this is when it comes to a romantic cycle you're trying to initiate, or a career that you're trying to initiate. But definitely for some of you, the romantic thing as well. And then also on the bottom of the deck, be bold and make the first move. And this card's come out before too. So as you're getting these signs and these synchronicities, like, be bold and make that first move. When Spirit talks to you, listen, accept the guidance that you're being given, and then act on that guidance. If you want this new start, if you want this new cycle, you have to be willing to act. It's like, what was it? I was watching a really old movie last night with my sister, and it was funny because there was a conversation that these two people were having, and the woman said, you know, what I've learned is that fate will only take you so far. Fate is real, it does exist, but it can only get you so far. And then there comes a point where it gets you where you need to be, and then it's on you to act. You have to take the action in order to make the rest of it happen. Like it can walk you up to the door. It can put your hand on the doorknob, but it can't open the door for you. Like, we have to be willing to open that door and step through that door. And then on the bottom of the deck too, it says, have faith in your dreams. Have faith in your dreams. Have faith in your dreams. Whatever those dreams are. Those dreams for your future, those dreams for your career, those dreams for your, you know, your romantic life, your anything and everything. Just have faith in those dreams and don't lose faith in that, and continue to hold that vision and to believe in the impossible. And as those fears, you know, we talked about this the other day in the life purpose reading too, right? Like, as those fears come up, which are a very beautiful and natural thing, it's like we work through those and we purge those. And like, that's sort of the initiation process that happens when we're on our way to fulfilling our dreams and fulfilling our potential and our desires. And so, yeah, just engaging fully in that process and allowing and accepting that process, and, you know, just putting in the effort that's necessary. Like, if it's worth the effort, then make the effort when it comes to anything. And then I got a personal issue reaches resolution. Luck is on your side. And communication is key. All right, so I think we're going to call it for the Jupiter retrograde video. I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you liked this video, please give it a like. If you want to see more videos, then definitely hit the subscribe button. You want to do the bell with the little squigglies so you get the notifications when we put out more videos. Like I said, Kayla and I do videos on all different types of topics, so there's a little something for everyone here. Our link to donate is below as well. If you feel called to do that, we appreciate it so very much. It helps to anchor in this new vibrational frequency, this new earth, and just this vibration of everyone being here doing the things that they love. Kayla and I absolutely love making these videos for you guys. We love every single one of you. As I believe I also said at the beginning of this video, Kayla and I both do readings. We both do energy healings. Each of our information is listed in the description box below for that as well. So reach out to either one of us if you resonate with us and you feel drawn to do so. And we both love you all so very, very much. Good luck. This is a very exciting, it's like a bit intimidating, but just going with the flow, allowing yourself, if you get into that void of course space where you feel like your fire and your passion is dimmed and you feel lost and confused, just know that you're right where you're supposed to be. That's where you're working through some of those fears. That's when that shadow stuff is coming up to be released, so that you can move into this deeper and more profound realization and understanding of who you are and how to be effective as that person in the world. So it's all just really, really good stuff. And readings and energy work and stuff like that can be so helpful. If you're in that space, please reach out to one of us. We would absolutely love to assist you with that process. But just know that, like, you are exactly where you're supposed to be. If that's what's going on for you, that's beautiful, because that's going to lead to such deep healing and such incredible empowerment on the other side of that. And we will talk to you all soon.